An entire U.S. carrier strike group just slid into the Caribbean. Not a patrol. A message. We'll break down why the world's largest aircraft carrier is parking near Venezuela, what ships, aircraft, and missiles are in play, and the real objective Washington cites: counter-narcotics. But if this is about drug routes, why this much steel? You'll see how the force package scales, how regional governments are reacting, and why analysts call this the most interventionist signal in decades. By the end, you'll know the likely playbook: air power first, or something bigger. Stay with me. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. If this is a drug bust, why bring a floating airbase, Aegis shields, and strike fighters?
Drug traffickers, but it's naturally being met with a lot of resistance and some strong response from Venezuela. What are you seeing? This is a U.S. warship, and its focus for the world's attention this morning because the aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford.
The Pentagon today announced the USS Gerald Ford arrived in the Latin American region, part of President Trump's war on drug cartels.
Washington says the mission targets trafficking networks tied by U.S. officials to power brokers in Caracas. The carrier strike group enters the Caribbean, not as a lone ship, but as a full package. That choice matters. You don't park this kind of tonnage near a state you're merely watching. Now the mismatch shows. Counter-drug work is about tracking skiffs, boarding freighters, seizing cargo. The roster here includes a carrier air wing, a cruiser-destroyer screen, submarines, and embarked Marines. That looks like leverage, not law enforcement. Break the package down. The air wing flies ISR and strike. It builds a sensor net from sea level up, then holds a hammer if a target needs to disappear. Escorts bring layered air and missile defense, which protects the carrier but doesn't chase go-fasts. Submarines do stealth ISR and can fire land attack missiles. That's deterrence against command nodes, not bales of cocaine. Marines add boarding skill, but their presence alongside strike assets signals contingency planning. Analysts call this scale coercive signaling, not maritime policing. And the region notices. One expert warns the deployment signals an interventionist approach that we had not seen in Latin America in a very long time, and everybody is really worried that if today is Venezuela, tomorrow it could be them. That unease sits under every port call. Look at past playbooks. Coast Guard cutters patrol. P-8 patrol aircraft track routes. JIAT South coordinates and sends Ladettes to climb ladders and take custody. None of that needs a super carrier. Add a carrier and the risk ladder jumps. Air power can blind radars, shut runways, and shadow high-value boats under a wide umbrella. Interviews point to an air power first approach as more plausible than a ground push, which fits the logistics you can actually see. So if not invasion, what can this force do in days, not weeks? Answer: tighten the ISR net, spike seizures undercover, and hold a credible option for limited precision strikes. Next, we size how this dwarfs past shows of force and what that means for politics, law, and deterrence. The region has seen U.S. ships before, rarely a carrier built for pure fights.
It absolutely is. So on the surface, this appears to be a classic case of saber rattling. Venezuela responding to the arrival of that USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier into the region.
Willie Lowry joins us now from Washington with more on this. So Willie, the Trump administration says this is all about combating a sailing with 3 more warships and dozens of warplanes closer to within striking distance of Venezuela.
Latin America keeps a long ledger. Gunboat diplomacy. Quiet advisory teams. Routine counter-drug patrols run by the Coast Guard, often with regional crews riding along. In peacetime, the mix is cutters, maritime patrol aircraft, and liaison cells that pass tracks to local navies. It's steady and low profile. A carrier strike group on station breaks that rhythm. It changes who sets the pace and what happens if someone tests the line. Governments want traffickers stopped. They also want sovereignty respected. That friction shows the moment a supercarrier appears off a coast that remembers coups, covert programs, and sudden embargoes. The hull says interception, the air wing says regime pressure. Old fears wake up fast. Look at past play. Advising missions kept footprints small. Coast Guard-led interdictions put law enforcement first. Small frigates, P-3 or P-8 patrol planes, and Ladettes climbing ladders at sea. Now compare that to the world's largest carrier. The optics shift from patrol to posture. The capability jump is stark, fighters on alert, a radar dome of escorts, subs lurking with land attack reach. That's leverage, day and night. There's a political frame at work. Labeling this narco-terrorism sells action at home while sparking legal pushback abroad. As one expert notes, everybody is looking at this with a lot of uncertainty and worry because this is in violation of international law. Another point from the same source, this focus lines up more with ideology than with the actual map of cocaine or fentanyl flows. So the likely tiers matter. Tier 1 is an ISR surge and maritime pressure, more eyes, more stops, more seizures under a wide umbrella. Tier 2 is no-notice precision strikes to shape behavior, hit nodes, and leave before dawn. Tier 3 is escalation with lift, armor, and logistics you don't see right now. Assessments flag Tier 1 to 2 as the fit. No large amphib ships. No heavy airlift wave. The signal is restraint with leverage, or a step that could split regional partners. Operational truth, the carrier buys options, compresses timelines, and shifts bargaining power without crossing the invasion line. So weigh the cost of presence against the blowback that comes when heavy boots follow steel. This isn't about speedboats. It's about leverage. A carrier strike group in the Caribbean buys fast, flexible options under a counter-narcotics banner. You get an ISR surge that closes blind spots, maritime stops under a big shield, and the ability to hit key nodes without warning. That's power you can dial from low to sharp in a single sortie. Comment your choice below, ISR surge only, limited strikes, or creeping intervention. If you want deep tactical breakdowns as they unfold, subscribe now. The next move won't be about what's said at a podium. It will be what launches at dawn. And you'll read it in the wake before you hear it.